Love After Lockup Season 7 Episode 8. Love, Lies, and Reality Checks. Reality TV has a way of showing us the messy side of love, and Love After Lockup Season 7 Episode 8 did exactly that. This episode reminded viewers that relationships built during incarceration often face a huge reality check once real life enters the picture. Between emotional visits, shocking news, and awkward reunions, the couples had to confront something many people try to avoid: the truth. And let's be honest, when it comes to love and prison relationships, the show always raises the same question. Is it really love, or just a fantasy created by distance? Let's break down the drama from this episode and talk about what lessons we can take from it. When fantasy meets reality. One of the biggest themes of this episode was the difference between fantasy love and real life. When someone is in prison, the relationship exists in a controlled environment. Phone calls, letters, and visits create an emotional bond, but they don't show the day-to-day reality of living together. In this episode, we saw couples begin to realize that what sounded romantic during late-night phone calls doesn't always translate well in real life. Some couples struggled with communication, while others discovered that they barely knew each other outside of prison conversations. This happens a lot on the show. People fall in love with the idea of someone, not the full person. Advice: if you're starting a relationship long distance or with someone in a difficult situation, ask yourself, do I really know this person? Have we talked about real-life responsibilities? Are we building a relationship or a fantasy? Love needs more than emotions. It needs truth, honesty, and reality. Awkward first dates and red flags. One couple had an uncomfortable first date that made viewers cringe a little. The conversation felt forced, the chemistry wasn't natural, and you could tell both people were wondering if they made a mistake. This moment highlights something important. Sometimes people feel pressure to force a relationship to work because they've invested time, money, or emotions into it. But relationships shouldn't feel like a job interview. They should feel natural. Advice: if you find yourself constantly uncomfortable around someone you're dating, ask yourself, am I ignoring red flags? Am I trying to make something work that clearly isn't working? Do I feel relaxed and safe with this person? Your peace of mind matters more than trying to prove a relationship can work. Family and friends always see the red flags first. Another interesting part of the episode involved family members reacting to the relationships. Often on Love After Lockup, friends and relatives notice problems before the couple does. Why? Because they are not emotionally attached to the situation. When you're in love, or think you're in love, you sometimes overlook warning signs. But outsiders can see the situation clearly. In this episode, some family members questioned whether the relationships were genuine or just emotional attachments formed during difficult circumstances. Advice: don't ignore the people who care about you. They might not always be right, but sometimes they can see things that you cannot. Ask yourself, are multiple people expressing concern? Are they noticing patterns I'm ignoring? Are they trying to protect me? Listening doesn't mean you have to agree. It just means you're open to hearing the truth. Emotional news that changes everything. One of the most serious moments in the episode involved devastating news that shook one of the relationships. Moments like this remind viewers that prison relationships can involve unexpected emotional stress. People dealing with incarceration are often facing complicated situations involving parole issues, release plans, mental health struggles, family pressure. Sometimes the reality becomes overwhelming. Advice: if someone you love is going through serious struggles, it's important to protect your own mental health too. Ask yourself, am I emotionally prepared for this situation? Do I have support outside the relationship? Am I sacrificing too much of my own happiness? Loving someone should not mean losing yourself in the process. The pressure of release day. Another major theme in this episode was the anxiety surrounding release day. For many couples, release day represents a dream finally coming true. But it also brings pressure. Suddenly the relationship has to function in the real world. Bills, responsibilities, and expectations become real. Some couples on the show become overwhelmed because they built their relationship on hope instead of planning. Advice: before entering any serious relationship, especially one involving major life changes, talk about real-life issues like living arrangements, finances, work expectations, boundaries, family involvement. Love is powerful, but it cannot survive on emotions alone. It needs structure and communication. Reality TV versus real life. Watching Love After Lockup can be entertaining, dramatic, and sometimes shocking. But beneath the drama, the show actually teaches an important lesson. Relationships are complicated. Love can make people hopeful, loyal, and determined. But it can also make people ignore problems that need attention. What makes the show interesting is that viewers get to watch couples try to navigate situations that most people would find incredibly difficult. Sometimes they succeed, sometimes they crash and burn. But every episode reminds us of one thing. Love is not just about feelings. It's about choices. Final thoughts. Season 7 Episode 8 was a reminder that relationships built under unusual circumstances require extra honesty, patience, and reality checks. The couples in this episode faced awkward moments, emotional revelations, family pressure, unexpected news. And while the drama makes great television, it also highlights a deeper truth. Healthy relationships are built on communication, trust, emotional stability, mutual respect, not just late-night phone calls and promises. For viewers watching at home, the biggest takeaway might be this. Before you invest your heart in someone, make sure you're in love with the real person, not the idea of them. Because when fantasy meets reality, the truth always comes out.